Have you ever tried to get an idea of just how big our solar system is? More importantly, just how empty it is? And by that I mean the sun and the planets are incredibly small compared to the vast expanse which we call our solar system. And I don't think people realize just how big the universe is and just how empty it is. And so what I wanted to show you is, here is, generally when you go to school, you get a book and they have pictures of the universe in it. And they look like this. Give you a relative idea of the planets and their order and relative sizes to one another. Sometimes not even that. But this is called an orally or an exaggerated view. And they have to do that. Planets are so small when compared to the sun that you can show them on a book. To give you an idea of just how small the planets are in compared to the size of the universe, let's say that we were going to give you a true-to-life scale of the universe in a book. Okay? So here we have our book. This is the solar system. This is volume 1 of 7. And there are 675 pages in this one volume. And so that would be incredibly hard to show the entire universe in 7 volumes of books like this. So on page 1 would be the sun. And then on page 42 blank pages before you get to Mercury on page 42. And then Venus would be on page 78. Earth would be on page 108. Mars would be on page 164. Jupiter would be on page 560. Saturn would be in volume 2 on page 1000 or on page 356. Saturn would be the only picture in that entire book. The rest of the book would be blank pages. And then on volume 4, again, only Uranus would be on volume 4, would be on page 41. And the remainder of the 675 pages in volume 4 would be empty. And then on page 532, on volume 5 would be Neptune in its own book. And then the last book on page 197 would be, in volume 7, would be Pluto. And it would be its own book. And so that books like this, which are 10 inches, the book width is 10 inches, 675 pages. And just to give you an idea of how small that, So here's my spreadsheet. I'll include a link to this in the description. But as you can see, this spreadsheet, you put the size of the book, how big you want the sun to be, and then it'll figure out it'll make all the calculations and show you what volume and where each planet would be and how big to draw it if you want to build your own true size book. Anyway, I'll include this spreadsheet in the description so you can look at it and have fun. The data I use from this is from the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center, and a link to the data that I use to get the distances from the center are included in a link in the spreadsheet, which you can see. So with that, we'll go on to, I wanted to show you what that would look like on a football field. So you can see the orbits of the planets in relation to what they would be on a football field. Notice that I include the end zone, so an extra 20 feet, 10 feet on either side to help. If you were to stake this out, the planets would be so small. They'd be the Earth and Mars and the rock planets up close. The sun would be grains of sand. The sun would be about an inch ball, and then the gas giants would be like maybe a marble size, if that. And then Pluto, sitting on the other end zone, would be not even a grain of sand, cut a grain of sand into 4 pieces, and 1/4 of that grain of sand would be Pluto. So these planets are incredibly small, and it just boggles the mind when you think about how small these planets are orbiting this small sun in this vast empty solar system. And so if we go through that, we have the here you can see we have the sun on the end zone. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are all in the end zone, and then Jupiter's out on the 6-yard line. And so the sun has a diameter of 864,000 miles, and of course it's on the end zone. Then Mercury in this picture is I had to show it as the Mercury's in the magenta circle. There's a dot there. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but this is a dot in the magnifying glass. Is a 1,000% magnification of the planet, so you can get an idea of what it looks like. Planets are incredibly small if you scale everything down to the solar system fitting into a football field, with including the end zones. But Mercury would be 4 feet away from the sun. Then we have Venus. Venus would be 7,521 miles in diameter. It's 67 million miles away from the sun, and it'd be a mere 7 feet from the sun in our football solar system. Then Earth, planet number 3, is 7,926 miles in diameter. It's 93 million miles away from the sun, and it is 9 feet away from the end of the end zone. Mars is 4,220 miles in diameter, 142 million miles away from the sun, and it's 14 feet away from the sun. Jupiter, first planet that actually gets into the playing field, is 88,000 miles in diameter. It's 484 million miles away from the sun. It is 47 feet away from the sun, and it's on the 6-yard line. Saturn is 47,897 miles in diameter. The distance from the sun is 191 million miles. It's 87 feet from the sun, and it's on the 19th yard line. Uranus is 31,763 miles in diameter. It's 1,784 million miles away from the sun. It's 175 feet on the football field away from the sun, and it's on the 48th yard line, just near the 50-yard line. Neptune would be 30,775 miles in diameter. It's 2,793 million miles away from the sun. It is 274 feet away from the sun on a football field, and it's on the 81-yard line. And then Pluto would be at the other end zone, and that would be 1,473 miles in diameter. It's 3,670 million miles away from the sun, and it will be on the 360 feet from the sun, and it's at the other end of the end zone. The end zones are each 10 feet. The football field is 100 feet. So 360 feet is the from the end of one end zone to the end of the other end zone. And so, as you can see, I hope you understand that how big the universe really is, and just how small everything in the universe is, and it's just nothing but a big, vast, empty space with little specks of sand sprinkled in for good measure. I hope this was insightful and useful. I'm always Richard. Until next time, good day.